Cold is the Grave, by Peter Robinson. Read by Simon Slater. Chapter 1. "Mummy, Mummy, come here!" Rosalind carried on stuffing the wild mushroom, olive oil, garlic and parsley mixture between the skin and the flesh of the chicken, the way she had learned in her recent course on the art of French cuisine. "Mummy can't come right now," she shouted back. "She's busy." "But, Mummy, you've got to come. It's our lass." Where on earth did he learn such common language? Rosalind wondered. Every term she forked out a fortune in fees to send him to the best school Yorkshire had to offer, and still he ended up sounding like some vulgar tyke. Perhaps if they lived down south again, the situation would improve. "Benjamin," she called back, "I told you Mummy's busy. Daddy has an important dinner tonight and Mummy has to prepare." Rosalind didn't mind cooking. In fact, she had taken several courses and quite enjoyed them. But just for a moment, as she spoke, she wished she had been able to say that Cook was preparing the meal and that she was busy deciding what to wear. But they had no cook, only a cleaning lady who came in once a week. It wasn't that they couldn't afford it, but simply that her husband drew the line at such extravagance. Honestly, Rosalind sometimes thought, anyone would imagine he was a born Yorkshireman himself instead of just living here. "But it is her," Benjamin persisted. "It's our lass. She's got no clothes on." Rosalind frowned and put aside her knife. What on earth could he be talking about? Benjamin was only 8, and she knew from experience that he had a very active imagination. She even worried that it might hold him back in life. Over-imaginative types, she had found, tend towards idleness and daydreaming. They don't get on with more profitable activities. "Mummy, hurry up!" Rosalind felt just the slightest tingle of apprehension, as if something were about to change forever in her universe. Shaking off the feeling, she wiped her hands of the oily stuffing, took a quick sip of gin and tonic, then walked towards the study, where Benjamin had been playing on the computer. As she did so, she heard the front door open and her husband call out that he was home. Early. She frowned. Was he checking up on her? Ignoring him for the moment, she went to see what on earth Benjamin was talking about. "Look," the boy said as she walked into the room. "It is our lass." He pointed at the computer screen. "Don't talk like that," Rosalind said. "I've told you before, it's common." Then she looked. At first, she was simply shocked to see the screen filled with the image of a naked woman. How had Benjamin stumbled onto such a sight? He wasn't even old enough to understand what he had found. Then, as she leaned over his shoulder and peered more closely at the screen, she gasped. He was right. She was looking at a picture of her daughter, Emily, naked as the day she was born, but with considerably more curves, a tattoo, and a wispy patch of blonde pubic hair between her legs. That it was her Emily, there was no mistake. The teardrop-shaped birthmark on the inside of her left thigh proved it. Rosalind ran her hand through her hair. What was all this about? What was happening? She glanced briefly at the URL on top of the screen. She had a photographic memory, so she knew she wouldn't forget it. "See," said Benjamin, "it is our lass, isn't it? What's she doing without any clothes on, Mummy?" Then Rosalind panicked. My God, he mustn't see this, Emily's father. He mustn't be allowed to see it. It would destroy him. Quickly she reached towards the mouse, but before her fingers could click on it, a deep voice behind her told her it was too late. "What on earth's going on?" he asked mildly, putting a fatherly hand on his son's shoulder. Then, after the briefest of silences, Rosalind heard the sharp intake of breath and knew that he had the answer. His hand tightened and Benjamin flinched. "Daddy, you're hurting me." But Chief Constable Jeremiah Riddle was oblivious to his son's pain. "My God!" he gasped, pointing at the screen. "Is that who I think it is?" Detective Chief Inspector Alan Banks paused over his hold-all, wondering whether he should take the leather jacket or the wind cheater. There wasn't room for both.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?